Okay, so I'm going to go over lesson 8, number 1. Here's a map that shows parts of Texas and Oklahoma. So we are given this map and we are given this little scale down here so I can see the distance, and then 60 miles is represented in that distance. And we are asked in A about how far is it from Amarillo to Oklahoma City, and explain your reasoning. So we're going to let our math work explain our reasoning here. And this is similar to some of the problems we looked at today. So we are given this scale. Unfortunately, in the circumstances that we're in, it's too hard to make sure we can all measure this with a ruler. So we're going to practice estimating because even if you're looking at a map like this in the real world, you're not going to have a ruler with you at all times. So how are we going to be really good estimators here? So what I'm going to do is look at this distance here that they're given to me, and as best I can, I'm going to mark off the map. So I'm going from Amarillo to Oklahoma City, and then I'm going to try and do as best as I can, make increments that are that long on that map. Okay, so for example, I'm starting here, and then I'm just going to eyeball it to make sure I'm trying to be as precise as possible to make this distance fit in, and see how many times that happens from my starting point to my ending point. Okay. So here I have my work. So I have how many sections? I have section 1, section 2, section 3. And then this looks like, let's make these tick marks a little bit bigger. And then this looks like it's about a half of a section. So now I just need to figure out, well, what is that distance? So my scale here is given to me. I know that this length is 60 miles. So I have 1, 2, 3 60-mile sections. So if I multiply that through, I get 180 miles. And then I have what looked like about a half section. So here, my half section is 30 miles. So I'm going to go ahead and add that extra 30 miles on. So when I do 180 plus 30, I get about 210 miles. Okay, so it is not exact. If you look up this actual distance from Amarillo to Oklahoma, it is not exactly 210 miles. But as I said, we're practicing our estimation here, okay, because we don't have a measuring device. So what are we going to do if we see this in the real world and we have this map and this scale? How are we going to figure out what that means? Take that scale and as best we can, superimpose it like we did on top of that distance and see how much we can count. Question B says, driving at a constant speed of 70 miles per hour, will it be possible to make this trip in 3 hours? Explain how you know. So we also talked about today our equation relating distance, rate, and time. We know that distance is always equal to how fast we're going times how long we're in the car for. So what is given to me in my problem here? It says driving at a constant speed of 70 miles per hour. So is that my distance? Is that my rate or my time? Miles per hour is always a rate. So I'm going to go ahead and plug 70 in for R. So now I have that distance is equal to 70 times the time. Now the question says, will it be possible to make this trip in 3 hours? So that's a time. So what I can do here is take 3 and plug it in for T. So my distance, if I go 70 miles per hour for 3 hours, where is that going to take me? 70 times 3 is 210 miles. Okay. Is that the distance that I needed to go? Yes, it's exact. So would we be able to make it? Yes. But now if we start thinking about car trips, is it possible to drive 3 hours straight nonstop, constant rate of 70 miles per hour? Probably not. You might stop at a rest stop. You might stop to get some food. You might get some snacks. You might get stuck in some traffic. Okay. So it is possible to make the trip in 3 hours. However, it's probably pretty unlikely that you're going to meet all of these conditions.